Remove this girl before her poverty stains my marble floor. So sickness has now taught beggars how to enter executive buildings? Ma, please! That letter is not for you. My mother said Mr. Niademi must read it himself. It is urgent!
Funked Coca Alo's voice cracked across the grand lobby of Harbour Crest Tower like a whip. Every shoe stopped. Every head turned. Zara Okoro stood between two security officers, rainwater dripping from her faded dress onto the polished floor. One officer gripped her wrist. The other was dragging her towards the glass entrance, while wealthy executives watched as if she were rubbish being carried outside. "Ma, please," Zara cried. "That letter is not for you." "My mother," said Mr. Niademi, "must read it himself." "It is urgent." Funka snatched the envelope from her hand. She looked at Zara Alo's worn sandals and laughed. "So sickness has now taught beggars how to enter executive buildings. You came here with one dirty envelope, thinking a billionaire will adopt your suffering." Then she tore the letter in half. The sound was small, but Zara Alo's face broke. A faded photograph slipped from the envelope, spun once in the air, and landed at the feet of a man who had just stepped out of the private lift. Nobody breathed. Niademi bent down and picked it up. In the photograph, a younger version of himself was holding Amaka Okoro, the woman he had once planned to marry. On the back, one sentence was written in trembling ink. "Nii, the young woman they are throwing out of your building is the daughter you were never allowed to know." Nii slowly raised his eyes. "Release her." Funke So's smile vanished. And before that day ended, one hidden letter, one poisoned lie, and one corrupted DNA test would tear apart everything she had protected for 21 years. Do not miss what happens next, because the person shouting the loudest in that lobby was hiding the darkest secret. Tell us your city or country and your local time in the comments. And subscribe now if you believe no human being should be judged by their clothes, their sickness, or the money in their pocket. It was 10:47 in the morning, on Thursday, July 9, when the atmosphere inside Harbour Crest Tower changed. Only 30 seconds earlier, the lobby had been moving with its normal, polished rhythm. Receptionists answered calls beneath a suspended brass sculpture. Consultants tapped at phones while waiting for lifts. A cleaner pushed a silent trolley along the far wall, careful not to disturb men whose watches could pay her yearly rent. Now everybody was watching Zara. The security officer holding her left arm loosened his grip first. His name tag read Bodhi, and shame moved across his face when he realized the man giving the order was the founder of the entire company. The second officer released her more slowly. Zara pulled both wrists to her chest. Red finger marks were already rising against her brown skin, but she did not rub them. She stared at the two torn halves of the letter in Funka Alo's hand. "Give it back," she said. Her voice was not loud. That made it heavier. Funke blinked once, then recovered. She was 45, elegant, disciplined, and known across Lagos business circles for never losing control of a room. Her cream suit had been cut in London. Her pearl earrings were small enough to suggest restraint and expensive enough to make the suggestion a lie. "Ninyi, this young woman forced her way past reception," she said. "She was creating a scene. I was only protecting the building by tearing a letter addressed to me. I believed it was another extortion attempt. You did not read it. I did not need to. Look at her." That was the moment Funka made her first mistake in public. Nii Alo's face did not change, but Lola George saw the muscle tighten beside his jaw. Lola was head of compliance at Adeyemi Urban and Health Infrastructure Group, and she had spent 9 years learning the difference between Ni Alo's ordinary silence and the silence that came before a decision. This was the second kind. Ni looked at Zara properly. She could not have been more than 21. Her dark blue dress was clean but old, with careful stitches at the hem where it had torn before. A canvas bag hung from one shoulder, heavy with papers. Her sandals had taken in enough rainwater to squeak whenever she shifted her weight. Yet she was standing straight. "Your name?" Ni asked. "Zara Okoro, sir." The surname struck him almost as hard as the photograph. He looked down again. He had forgotten that picture existed. It had been taken outside the old National Theatre in 2004, after a cheap stage play Amaka had insisted they attend. He remembered laughing because the photographer had told him not to squeeze his face. He remembered Amaka Alo's hand inside his. He remembered loving her. "Where is your mother?" "At Meridian Oncology Center in Ikeja." "Why?" Zara swallowed. "She has cervical cancer, sir. The doctors say it has spread beyond where surgery alone can solve it. She starts assessment for treatment today. But that is not why I came to beg you for money." Funke gave a sharp laugh. "You people always say you are not begging immediately before you start begging." Zara turned to her. "Ma, I did not speak to you." A few people inhaled. Funke Alo's eyes hardened. "Do you know who you are talking to?" "Yes. The woman who tore another person Alo's private letter without permission." The cleaner at the far wall lowered her eyes quickly, hiding the beginning of a smile. Niyi held out his hand, the letter. Funke did not move. Funke. She placed the torn pieces in his palm. The lobby remained so quiet that the trickle of water from Zara Alo's dress sounded loud. Niyi aligned the torn edges. Some words had been lost where the paper had ripped through blue ink, but enough remained. "Niyi, I am writing because time has finally become more expensive than my pride. The young woman carrying this letter is Zara. She is 21 years old. She was born on March 18, 2005. You are her father. I tried to tell you when I was pregnant. I wrote to your office. I sent emails. I came twice, but I was told you had instructed security never to admit me. Later, I received a message from your account saying you were engaged and wanted nothing to do with me or the child. I believed you had chosen your life. I am not asking you to love me again. I am not asking you to believe this paper without testing it. I am asking you to meet Zara before my treatment begins, because I do not know what my body will be able to carry in the coming months. Do not punish her for the decisions adults made before she was born. Amaka." Below the signature was a phone number and a final line, written more shakily than the rest. "Please verify everything. Just do not humiliate her before you do." Ni read that line twice. Then he looked at the red marks on Zara Alo's wrists. Bode shifted his feet. "Sir," he began. "Madame Funke instructed us." "I did not ask who instructed you." Ni Alo's voice stayed low. "I asked you to release her. You have done that. Go and wait in the security office." Both officers left. Funke stepped closer. "Ni, you cannot possibly take this seriously because of one old photograph and a sick woman, Alo's letter." "A sick woman?" Zara repeated. "So you know my mother?" The question landed before Funke could prepare for it. "I know the name," she said. "Ni mentioned her years ago." "He mentioned that she was sick?" "I meant, you said a sick woman Al's letter." "The letter was folded when you took it. You never read it." Lola lifted her head. Ni Alo's eyes moved to Funke. For half a second, something passed across her face. Not fear exactly. Recognition. Then it disappeared. Anybody carrying a hospital story into a corporate lobby is either sick or pretending to be. Funke said, "Do not twist ordinary words." Zara opened her canvas bag, and removed a transparent folder. I brought evidence, she said to Nii. My birth certificate. Copies of 3 registered letters my mother sent to your old office. Printouts of emails. Her treatment summary. You can examine all of it without giving us 1 naira. Nii looked at the folder, but did not take it immediately. He had built his career by distrusting urgency. Urgency made people careless. Urgency made investors sign bad contracts and families sell land below value. He had taught his executives to slow down whenever somebody said, "You must decide today." Yet the woman in that old photograph had once known the scar on his left knee, the name of the teacher who beat him in primary school, and the exact way he liked plantain fried. Not too soft, not too brown. That knowledge had no place in a fraudster Arlo's script. "Lusa," he said. "Yes, sir. Book the small boardroom. Ask legal to send 1 person, not a crowd. Bring water and a first aid kit." Zara shook her head. "I do not need first aid. You are bleeding." She looked down. One of Funke Alo's rings had scratched the side of her hand when she grabbed the envelope. A thin red line had appeared. "It is nothing. No injury becomes nothing because the person who caused it is rich." The words surprised Funke. They surprised Nii too. He turned to Zara. You will come upstairs. You will explain everything once. Nobody will insult you. Nobody will touch you. After that, I will decide what can be verified today." Zara held his gaze. "My mother Elo's scan review is by 1:30. I must return before then. We will be finished before 12. I came by BRT and 2 buses. Lagos traffic does not respect promises. I will take you back." "No, sir. You do not have to behave like my father before you know whether you are." Nii felt the words in his chest. Funke felt them too. By 11:06, Zara was seated in the small boardroom on the 17th floor. The room had 12 leather chairs, a screen built into the wall and a view of rain crawling down the windows over Victoria Island. She refused the coffee. She accepted water only after Lola opened the bottle in front of her. That small act did not escape Lola. Neither did the way Zara arranged her papers by date. The legal representative was a quiet woman called Tola Daniels. She placed her phone face down and asked Zara Alo's permission before making notes. Funke arrived without being invited. Nii looked at her. "This is a private matter. I am your fiancée and the company's CFO. If somebody is attempting to compromise you, it affects both your personal and corporate interests." Zara Alo's eyes moved from Funke Alo's engagement ring to Nii Alo's face. She said nothing. "Sit," Nii said. Funke sat beside him close enough to suggest unity. Zara began with the birth certificate. It named Amaka Okoro as mother. The space for father was blank. "Why is my name not there?" Nii asked. "My mother said." The registrar advised her not to enter the name of a man who was absent and had not acknowledged paternity. Funke leaned back. "Convenient." Tola looked at her. "Please allow her to finish." Zara presented 3 postal receipts dated September 2nd, September 19, and October 7th, 2004. Each showed delivery to Adeyemi Projects Limited, the small property company Nii had operated before his current group existed. The first receipt carried a signature. F. Coca. Nii looked up. Funke did not blink. "I received hundreds of letters in those days. I was your executive assistant. It proves nothing about what was inside. You told me Amaka never contacted the office," Nii said. "I said I did not remember her contacting the office." "That is not what you said. After 21 years, are we now prosecuting grammar?" Zara slid forward the email printouts. The first was from Amaka Alo's old account, dated August 26, 2004. "Nii, please answer me. I am pregnant. Before you decide anything, Let me speak to you face to face. The second was a reply from Nii Alo's address. There is nothing to discuss. I am engaged. Do not contact me or my office again. Whatever child you are carrying is not my responsibility. Nii stared at the message. I did not write this. Funky folded her arms. Anybody can type an email and print it. The header is on the next page, Zara said. My mother kept the full printout because she used a cybercafe and did not own a computer. Tola took the page carefully. This can be examined. Nii Alo's breathing had changed. He remembered the office computers of that period. Shared terminals. Weak passwords. Funke had managed his calendar, correspondence, and sometimes his email when he traveled. But suspicion was not proof. He forced himself to remain still. Tell me about your mother Alo's condition, he said. Zara removed a hospital summary. She began bleeding irregularly last year. She thought it was menopause. Then she started losing weight and feeling pain in her lower back. She delayed proper assessment because the first clinic fees were more than she could manage, and because she was afraid of losing her teaching job. By the time she went for full evaluation, the doctors found cervical cancer. The MRI suggests it has spread into nearby tissue and lymph nodes. Dr. Sani says they need more tests before final staging and treatment planning. Why did she not come to me earlier? She did not want your money. She may die because she did not want my money. Zara Alo's voice sharpened. She may die because illness is expensive, because fear makes people delay, because salary can finish before the month begins, and because she believed you had rejected her child before the child was born. Do not reduce 21 years to pride, sir. The room went still. Nii did not answer at once. Zara inhaled and continued more quietly. She wrote the letter after Dr. Sani explained that treatment could make her weak for a long time. She wanted me to know where I came from. I told her I would bring it. She told me not to kneel, not to cry, and not to ask you for anything. Funke shook her head. A very sophisticated performance. Zara turned to her. Ma, you keep calling my mother a liar. Yet your signature is on the receipt for a letter you say you do not remember. Perhaps allow evidence to finish speaking before your mouth does. Funke pushed back her chair. Who trained this girl to speak to elders like this? My mother trained me not to confuse age with integrity. Tola coughed into her hand. Lola looked down at her notebook. Nii almost smiled, but the feeling died before it reached his face. He stood. We are going to the hospital. Funke rose immediately. Nii, you have the Port Consortium meeting at 12:30. Move it. That negotiation has taken 4 months. Then it can survive one afternoon. You are allowing emotion to disrupt the company. I am allowing a medical appointment to happen on time. He looked at Lola. Arrange a driver. Zara stood too. I can go alone. I said I would take you. And I said you do not owe me that yet. Nii met her eyes. Perhaps I owe your mother the courtesy of hearing her before deciding she is lying. I failed to do that once. Funke Alo's fingers tightened around the back of her chair. The rain had reduced to a grey mist by the time Nii Alo's black SUV left Victoria Island. Zara sat in the back with Lola, not beside Nii. Funke insisted on coming and took the front passenger seat as if defending territory. Traffic stalled near Falomo Bridge. Hawkers moved between cars with plantain chips, phone chargers, and bottled water balanced against their bodies. A young man knocked on the window offering umbrellas. Nii waved him away, then noticed Zara counting crumpled notes in her bag. What are you doing? He asked. Checking what remains for transport home. You will not need transport money today. I did not ask you. Must every sentence become a fight? No, sir. only the ones that try to turn help into control. Lola looked out of the window to hide her reaction. Niyi rubbed his forehead. Fine, I am offering transport. You may accept or refuse. I accept the ride because my mother Al's appointment is soon. Nothing more. Funke gave a dry laugh. Poverty with pride. Lagos has produced everything. Zara leaned forward slightly. Pride is not only for people with air-conditioned cars, Ma. The driver Alo's shoulders moved once. He was laughing silently. They reached Meridian Oncology Center at 1:19. The building was not luxurious. Its paint had faded at the corners, and the waiting area held plastic chairs rather than leather ones. But it was clean. Posters in English, Yoruba, and Pidgin explained screening, consent, and chemotherapy side effects. A social worker sat behind a desk, helping an elderly couple complete forms. Zara moved faster the moment she entered. Would see, she said. My mother was resting there before review. Amaka Okoro was sitting beside a window in a pale green dress, one hand pressed against her abdomen. She had tied a scarf around her hair, though she had not yet begun treatment. Illness had narrowed her face and sharpened her cheekbones. But her eyes were the same eyes, Niyi remembered. She saw him. The paper cup in her hand fell. Water spread across the floor. Nobody moved. Niyi, she whispered. He had imagined this reunion many times during the drive, but every imagined sentence abandoned him. Amaka. Her eyes moved to Funke. The weakness in her face changed into something colder. You came with her. Funke lifted her chin. I came to protect him from another manipulation. Amaka looked at Zara Alo's wrists. What happened to you? It is nothing, Mummy. Zara, security held me. The letter tore. Mr. Adeyemi stopped them. Amaka Alo's gaze settled on Niyi. I asked you not to humiliate her. I did not know she was downstairs. You did not know many things because you preferred people who filtered the world for you. The words were weakly spoken, but they entered him cleanly. Niyi pulled a chair closer. I came to listen, 21 years late. Yes, the honesty made Amaka pause. Dr. Sani Bello entered before either could continue. He was a broad-shouldered man in his early 50s, with reading glasses hanging from a cord around his neck. He looked from Amaka to the three strangers and frowned. Hope no problem? Amaka gave a tired laugh. Doctor, the problem has arrived wearing a suit. Dr. Sani looked at Niyi. Which one? For the first time that day, Zara smiled. Niyi introduced himself. He did not mention his wealth or company. Dr. Sani listened, then turned to Amaka. Do you want these people present while we discuss your scan? The question was simple. It mattered. Amaka looked at Niyi, at Funke, then at Zara. Zara stays. Mr. Adeyemi can stay. The other woman should wait outside. Funke stiffened. I am his fiancée. This is my medical information. Amaka replied. Your engagement ring does not give you access to it. Dr. Sani opened the door. Madam, please wait outside. Funke looked at Niyi, expecting rescue. He gave none. The door closed behind her. Dr. Sani placed the MRI images on the light screen. He explained what the scans suggested and what they did not yet prove. The tumor involved the cervix and surrounding tissue. Enlarged pelvic lymph nodes were concerning. A small area near the bladder required further assessment. More blood work, chest imaging, and possibly a PET scan would help determine the full extent. Can she be cured? Niyi asked. Dr. Sani did not soften the truth. I cannot promise that. Anybody promising certainty before complete staging is selling hope like gala in traffic. What I can say is that treatment may control the disease, reduce it significantly, and possibly achieve remission. We need to know her kidney function, blood count, and general strength first. What is the best treatment? likely combined chemotherapy and radiotherapy. But the final plan depends on results and on what Amaka chooses after we explain benefits and risks. I will pay for whatever she needs. Amaka turned sharply. I did not ask, but Dr. Sani raised one hand. Mr. Adeyemi, money can remove some barriers. It cannot replace consent. This is Amaka Alo's body. She will decide after she understands the plan. Nii nodded. Understood. Dr. Sani studied him for a moment, then continued. Treatment could cause nausea, fatigue, diarrhea, low blood counts, infection risk, and temporary or lasting changes to bladder and bowel function. Amaka might need time away from work. She would need transport, nutrition support, and somebody to monitor warning signs. Zara had already written everything down. Nii noticed. Amaka noticed him noticing. Or, she has been doing that since the first appointment. Amaka said. She asks the questions I forget. She is studying health science, community, health extension, Zara answered. Final year, but I deferred this semester. Because of your mother. Because timetables do not care who is vomiting at 3 in the morning. Dr. Sani closed the file. We can do the additional tests today if payment is sorted. The initial deposit is 1,843,000 naira. That covers imaging, laboratory work, and treatment planning, not the full course. Amaka looked away. Nii took out his phone. She caught his wrist. No, Amaka. I did not bring Zara to collect money. You brought her because you may be seriously ill, and because you believed I am her father. Whether the second claim is true or not, the first is already true. I will not owe you my dignity. You will not. This is not a purchase. Men with money always say that before they begin attaching conditions. Nii lowered the phone. Then we put it in writing. Payment is for medical assessment only. It creates no claim over you, Zara, or any future decision. Tola can prepare it today. Dr. Sani nodded slowly. That is sensible. Zara looked at her mother. Mummy, let the tests happen. Amaka closed her eyes. For 21 years she had survived by refusing to need Nii Adeyemi. She had taught in classrooms with leaking roofs, sold 2 gold chains to pay Zara Alo's school fees, and learned how to stretch 1 pot of stew across 4 days. Depending on him now felt like reopening a wound she had trained herself not to touch. But cancer did not respect pride. Only the assessment, she said. We discuss treatment after results. Agreed, Nii replied. He transferred the money directly to the hospital account, while Dr. Sani watched the confirmation arrive. He did not call an executive. He did not demand special treatment. He only asked that the scheduled tests begin as soon as medically appropriate. Then he turned to Amaka. We also need a paternity test. I expected that. Independent laboratory. Proper identification. No shortcuts. Fiancée Alo's voice came from the doorway before anybody invited her back in. I know a discreet service, she said. Asla Ibe manages executive gene care. They handle high-profile clients. No leaks, no bloggers, no embarrassment. Dr. Sani Alo's expression tightened. Paternity testing should not be arranged by somebody with a personal interest in the result. Fiancée smiled without warmth. Doctor, discretion is not interference. No. But chain of custody is not fashion either. If the result may affect legal rights, everybody should understand who collected the samples, how they were sealed, and where they went. Zara looked at Nii. I agree, Nii considered it. He had no desire to see the matter online before facts existed. Yet he had already learned what happened when he allowed convenience to replace scrutiny. We will decide after speaking to legal, he said. Fiancée Alo's smile held. Barely. At 3:12, while Amaka was being taken for blood tests, Funke stood alone in a quiet stairwell and called Sola Ibe. He answered on the second ring. "Cousin, hope no problem?" "There is a problem," Funke said. "A 21-year-old problem." Sola was silent. Then Funke told him the name, Zara Okoro. His breathing changed. "You said that matter died long ago." "It did. Now it has entered Harbor Crest Tower wearing wet sandals." "What do you want me to do?" Funke looked through the narrow stairwell window at Lagos traffic crawling below. "That test must not confirm anything," she said. "Do you understand me?" Sola did not answer immediately. Funke Alo's voice dropped. "Do you understand me?" "Yes." "Good, because if she becomes his daughter, we both lose more than money." The next 5 days moved with the strange speed of a life that had suddenly split into before and after. Before the letter, Niyi mornings had been measured in profit forecasts, land approvals and meetings that began precisely at 8:30. After the letter, he woke checking whether Zara had sent an update from the hospital. He still signed documents. He still spoke to investors. But every number now had another number beside it. Amaka Alo's hemoglobin level, her kidney function, the size of the tumor, the date of Zara Alo's birth. Numbers had become personal. Amaka completed her staging tests on Friday. The results confirmed locally advanced cervical cancer with pelvic lymph node involvement, but no clear evidence of spread to distant organs. Dr. Sani explained that the disease was serious, yet potentially treatable with combined chemotherapy and radiotherapy. He did not call it a miracle. He called it work. "The treatment will happen over several weeks," he told Amaka on Monday morning. "Radiotherapy 5 days each week, with chemotherapy given at intervals to make the radiation more effective. We will monitor your kidneys, blood counts, and hydration. Some days you may feel manageable. Some days you may feel as if a trailer passed through your body." Amaka squeezed her face. "Doctor, must you describe it like that? I prefer fear that is informed to courage that is blind." Zara wrote the phrase down. Niyi sat across from them in a plain chair. Funke had wanted to attend, but Amaka refused. This time, Niyi did not argue. "What happens if she cannot tolerate it?" he asked. "We adjust. We pause if necessary. We treat side effects. We do not continue simply because a rich man has paid and wants a dramatic result." Niyi nodded. "You enjoy correcting me." Dr. Sani smiled. "You are a man surrounded by people who agree too quickly. Consider my service part of the treatment package." Amaka laughed, then pressed a hand to her abdomen when the laugh became painful. The laughter died. Niyi noticed how Zara moved before anybody asked. She adjusted the cushion behind her mother, opened a bottle of water, and checked whether the pain medicine had been taken on time. Her movements were practiced, almost automatic. "How long have you been doing this alone?" he asked. Zara did not look at him. "Long enough," Amaka answered for her. "Since March. My sister stayed for 2 weeks, but she has her own family in Ibadan. Zara has been the one carrying everything." "You deferred school?" "I already told you. I know. I am asking what you need to return." Zara capped the water bottle. "My mother to be stable. Tuition. Transport. Time. The ordinary things. I can provide those. You can provide money. Time is not sold at Eco Hotel." Niyi sat back. Amaka looked between them. "Both of you speak as if every conversation is a wrestling match." "He starts," Zara said. "She refuses every reasonable offer," Niyi replied. "She has survived people whose offers had hooks inside them," Amaka said. "Allow her to inspect yours." Niyi absorbed that without defense. Later that afternoon, he arranged a serviced 2-bedroom flat in Ikeja, 11 minutes from Meridian Oncology Center, during light traffic. and considerably longer when Lagos decided to be Lagos. It was not his penthouse. It was not filled with gold fittings or servants. It had a lift, reliable electricity, a small kitchen, and enough space for Amaka to rest without climbing 3 flights of stairs to the room they had rented in Yaba. He presented it as an option, not a command. Amaka resisted for 40 minutes. Zara resisted for 23. Dr. Sani ended the debate. My patient cannot be climbing stairs after treatment because 2 proud people are competing over who can reject help more beautifully. Move closer. Keep your receipts. Sign whatever agreement protects you. But move. So they moved. Tola Daniels prepared a 6-page document stating that the flat and medical payments were temporary support, with no condition of paternity, inheritance, publicity, romantic reconciliation, or control over treatment. Zara read every paragraph. She asked for 2 clauses to be changed. Nii agreed. That impressed her more than the flat. For the first week, Nii visited only when invited. He brought no photographers and posted nothing online. He sent food through a catering service, but Zara cancelled it after the 3rd delivery because the meals were too spicy for Amaka Alo's stomach and too wasteful for 2 people. Then tell them what to cook, Nii said over the phone. We can cook. You are spending 6 hours daily at the hospital. I said we can cook. Zat. Sir. Why do you answer, Sir Alo, as if it is an insult? Because sometimes you say my name as if it is an instruction. There was a pause. Then Nii laughed. It surprised both of them. The following evening, he came with boiled yam, mild fish stew, and pawpaw packed by an older cook who had worked for his mother. Amaka ate more than she had eaten all week. Zara did not thank him immediately. After washing the plates, she came to the sitting room where he was reading one of Amaka Alo's old school reports. Thank you, she said, for the food? For listening when I said the first food was wrong. He closed the report. That should not be extraordinary. It is when people have money. Many of them think paying gives them the right to stop hearing. Nii looked at her. You have strong opinions about rich people. I have strong opinions about anybody who thinks another person Alo's need is permission to disrespect them. He nodded slowly. Fair. Zara noticed the report in his hand. It was from the school where Amaka had taught before illness forced her to take leave. You are reading Mummy Alo's appraisal? She taught 47 pupils in one class and still had the highest literacy improvement in the district. She is good. She always was. The way he said it made Zara study him. What happened between both of you? Nii did not answer quickly. The easy version would have blamed Fiancée. The honest version required him to include himself. I believed your mother was seeing another man, he said. I was shown photographs of her leaving a restaurant with somebody. They were holding hands. One picture looked like they were kissing. Were they? I never allowed her to explain. That is not an answer. No, I do not know. You ended the relationship without meeting her, I called. She tried to speak. I shouted. Then I blocked her. Zara Alo's expression changed, not anger, disappointment. Nii found that harder to carry. You are not the innocent victim you are telling yourself you are, she said. I know, do you? He looked down at the report. I am beginning to. The paternity test was scheduled for Wednesday, July 15. Tola had recommended 2 accredited laboratories and a formal collection process, with identity verification, photographs, witnessed sealing, and documented transfer. Fiancée argued that such a process would create too many records and increase the risk of a leak. Executive Gene Care handles ministers, actors, and high-net-worth families, she said during a private meeting in Nii Alo's office. They can collect at home. Results in 48 hours. Quietly. Lola sat at the end of the table. Are they on our approved medical vendor list? This is personal, not company business. Then why are you selecting the vendor? Funke turned. Because I know discretion, and you know the manager personally, Lola said. Sola Ibe is related to your mother. Funke Alo's face remained calm, distantly. That is a conflict. No, it is familiarity. Niyi rubbed his temple. He had already received 2 anonymous emails asking whether he had a secret daughter. Somebody at the hospital or company was talking. He wanted the question settled before gossip hardened into public fact. Tola will attend the collection, he said. Zara receives copies of every document. The samples are sealed in front of us. Lola opened her mouth. Niyi raised one hand. This is the decision. It was his first serious mistake after the letter. Not because executive gene care was automatically unreliable, but because he allowed secrecy to outweigh independence. On Wednesday morning, Sola arrived at the Akkeja flat, wearing a white coat embroidered with the company logo. He was 34, smooth-faced and overly cheerful. A young technician carried the case, though Sola introduced neither her name nor qualifications. Zara noticed. Who will collect the samples? She asked. My staff, Sola said. Do not worry, my sister. It is only a cheek swab. I did not ask whether it would hurt. I asked who is collecting it. The technician gave her name and showed an identity card after Tola requested it. Sola smiled. Very careful girl. Yes, you should relax. DNA does not change because you are squeezing your face. Procedure can change what arrives at the laboratory. Tola glanced at her approvingly. Niyi came at 9:03. Funke came with him despite Amaka Alo's refusal to have her inside the flat during collection. I will wait in the corridor, she said, but not leaving him alone in a situation designed to trap him. Amaka stood in the doorway, thinner than she had been the previous week. Madam Funke, if you believe my daughter is a trap, why are you fighting so hard to stand beside it? Funke smiled. Because rats enter houses through small holes. Zara moved towards her. Amaka caught her hand. No, do not answer dirt with your bare skin. Funke Alo's smile faltered. The door closed. The technician swabbed Niyi first, then Zara. Tola checked their identification. 2 tubes were placed on the table. The technician wrote labels by hand. Niyi was called outside by his driver when an urgent office package arrived. He left for less than 2 minutes. During those 2 minutes, Sola asked Tola to sign a payment receipt at the kitchen counter. The technician turned away to retrieve another form from the case. Zara watched the tubes. The label on hers ended in 7413. The label on Niyi Alo's ended in 7414. She repeated the numbers silently. Sola sealed both tubes in a transparent evidence pouch. He did not ask Zara or Niyi to sign across the seal. He did not provide a photograph of the package. When Tola requested a duplicate custody form, he said it would be emailed. Before you leave, Zara said, write the sample numbers on my copy. Sola Alo's eyes rested on her for a second too long. Then he wrote them 7413, 7414. Happy? He asked. No. Documented. After the collection, Sola drove to his office in Maryland. At 11:26, he carried the sealed pouch into a storage room behind the processing desk. The camera above the door should have recorded him. It did not. At 11:19, a maintenance request had been logged from his administrator, Alo's account, reporting a faulty network switch. The camera feed went dark for 17 minutes. Inside the room, Sola opened the pouch. His hands shook. He replaced Niyi Alo's tube with a prepared sample from an unrelated male donor. copied the label, and resealed the package with another security strip from the same batch. The act took less than 4 minutes. It would cost him years. At 11:41, Fiancée transferred 873,500 naira to a consulting company registered in Sola Alo's friend Alo's name. The narration on the transfer read, "Strategic Data Review." By Friday afternoon, the result was ready. Sola insisted on sending it directly to Niyi. At 3:37, Niyi opened the encrypted PDF in his office. Fiancée sat opposite him. Lola stood near the window with a folder. Tola joined by video call. The conclusion was 3 lines long. The tested man was excluded as the biological father of the tested woman. Probability of paternity, 0.00%. Niyi read it once, then again. His face emptied. Fiancée exhaled slowly and placed one hand over her mouth. The performance was careful, not triumphant, not yet. "Oh, Niyi," she whispered. "I am so sorry." Lola stepped closer. "May I see the full report?" He handed it to her. The room seemed to tilt around him. For 9 days, he had allowed a possibility to enter his life. He had imagined Zara as a child. He had wondered whether she learned to walk early, whether she feared thunderstorms, whether she had ever looked at other fathers and asked Amaka where hers was. Now a page said, none of it belonged to him. Shame followed grief. He had cancelled meetings, paid bills, moved them into a flat, allowed senior staff to see him uncertain. Somewhere outside his office, whispers were already moving. Fiancée leaned forward. "This is what I was trying to protect you from." Lola frowned at the report. "The sample identifiers here are EG7413 and EG7491. Ni barely heard her. "What?" "The second identifier." Fiancée reached for the paper. "It may be an internal processing code." Lola did not release it, possibly. "I would like the custody record." "Ni does not need more bureaucracy," Fiancée said. "He needs to accept that he has been used." The office phone rang before Lola could answer. Niyi Alo's media director was on the line. A gossip blog had published a story. Lagos billionaire tricked by FAC daughter while dying teacher demons millions. The article included a blurred photograph of Zara entering the tower, details of Amaka Alo's diagnosis, and a claim that the DNA test had already disproved paternity. The result had existed for less than 30 minutes. "How did they get this?" Niyi asked. Fiancée stood. "This is exactly what they planned. Pressure you publicly before you could think." Lola looked at her. "The article says the test is negative. Who outside this room knew?" Fiancée Alo's head turned. "Are you accusing me?" "I am asking a compliance question. You are forgetting your level, Lola." "No, Ma. I am remembering my job." Ni slammed his palm on the desk. "Enough." Both women stopped. He called Zara. She answered on the 4th ring, breathless. "Sir, I am at the treatment unit. Hope no problem." The phrase nearly broke him. "Where is your mother?" "Receiving fluids before her first radiotherapy session." "I am coming." "What happened?" And the result came. Silence. And Niyi ended the call. Lola picked up the report. "Sir, before you confront anybody, please allow me to obtain the complete custody documentation. The identifier inconsistency may have an explanation, but it should be checked. The result is clear. The conclusion is clear. The process is not." Fiancée walked to Ni Alo's side. "Do not let technical language confuse what is obvious. They lied." Niyi took the report from Lola. He left. At Meridian Oncology Center, Zara was standing outside the infusion room when he arrived. She had seen the blog post. So had 2 nurses, 3 patients, and the woman selling snacks near the entrance. People were pretending not to look at her. Niyi held out the report. You are not my daughter. Zara read his face before she read the page. My mother did not lie. The test excluded me. Then something is wrong. The laboratory is wrong. The emails are real. The letters were hidden. The blog is lying. Everything that disagrees with your mother must be wrong. Her eyes hardened. Everything should be checked before you use it to destroy people. I checked. You accepted one test organized by your fiancée, Alo's relative. My legal advisor was present. Your legal advisor watched the swab. She did not travel inside the evidence pouch. Nii laughed once without humor. You prepared this answer quickly. I wrote down the sample numbers. Show me the report. He handed it over. Zara scanned the page. Her finger stopped. This is not the number on your tube. What? Your sample ended in 7419. This says 7491. Internal codes can change. Then where is the cross-reference? He stared at her. She lifted her chin. Ask them. Amaka Alo's voice came from behind the curtain. Zara. She had heard the raised voices. Zara closed her eyes for a moment, then went inside. Nii followed. Amaka sat in a reclining chair with an IV line in her arm. Her face was grey with fatigue. The result is negative, Zara said gently. Amaka looked at Nii. No. He held the paper out. She did not take it. No, Zara is yours. Science says otherwise. Science did not collect that sample. People did. The sentence irritated him because it sounded too much like hope wearing intelligence. You knew I would pay for treatment. Amaka Alo's expression changed. So, that is where your mind has gone. You contacted me only when you were ill. I contacted you when I was pregnant. You have printouts. I have truth. Truth would match the test. A nurse stepped closer. Sir, please lower your voice. Patients are receiving treatment. Nii ignored her. Amaka Alo's heart monitor began to climb. Zara moved between them. Stop, she said. Nii looked at her. You may reject me, Zara continued. But do not use one laboratory paper to decide whether my mother deserves treatment. Her life did not become valuable because you thought I was your daughter, and it should not become worthless because a test embarrassed you. The words entered the room and stayed there. Dr. Sani appeared at the doorway. What is happening? Nii turned. The paternity test is negative, and that requires shouting beside a woman receiving her first treatment. I am being told the result is fraudulent. Then investigate it. I already did the test. You did a test. Investigation is what happens when process and result disagree with material evidence. Fiancée arrived before Nii could reply. She had followed in another car. Doctor, please do not encourage this manipulation, she said. The test has settled the matter. Dr. Sani looked at her. Madam, you are not my patient, not her lawyer, and not the laboratory scientist. Why are you always at the center of this matter? Fiancée Alo's face tightened. Amaka removed the IV hand from beneath the blanket and pointed weakly towards the door. Both of you should leave. Nii Alo's anger rose again. Fine. I will continue paying for the treatment already approved. I am not withdrawing that. But the flat was arranged because I believed Zara was my daughter. You will have 14 days to make another arrangement. Zara stared at him. Amaka shut her eyes. Fiancée exhaled through her nose. Dr. Sani looked disgusted. You could have sent that information through your lawyer tomorrow. I prefer clarity. No, sir. You prefer punishment while calling it clarity. Nii flinched. He left before anybody saw it. That evening, Zara packed every item Nii had sent to the flat. She separated food already opened from sealed goods. The unopened items went to the hospital social work office for patients in need. The new phone remained in its box. The keys lay on the table beside the 6-page agreement. Amaka watched from the sofa, a basin near her feet, because nausea had started. "We have 14 days," she said weakly. "We will not stay one more night. Zara, your anger is carrying you on its head. No, Mummy. My dignity is walking on its own legs. Where will we go?" "Back to Yaba for now. I will ask the landlord to let us use the downstairs room." "You cannot lift me up those stairs. I will find another place." "With what money?" Zara stopped folding a blouse. For the first time since the result arrived, her face cracked. "I do not know." Amaka opened her arms. Zara knelt beside her and pressed her face into her lap, careful of the treatment lines still taped to her hand. Neither cried loudly. The room held only Amaka Alo's fingers moving through her daughter Alo's hair and the distant hum of the generator below. At 9:18, Zara sent Niyi one message. "The key is with reception. The flat is empty." The sample number written in front of me was EG7414. "Your report carries EG7491. I have filed a written request for the full chain of custody record. I will not contact you again unless the evidence requires it." Then she switched off the phone he had bought and returned to her old device with a cracked screen. Ni read the message in his study. Fiancée stood behind him with 2 glasses of wine. "She is clever," she said. "Even her exit is designed to make you doubt." Ni kept staring at the numbers. 7491. "A laboratory can assign a processing number," Fiancée said. "Do not let a poor girl's confidence make you think she understands science better than professionals." Ni turned. Why did the blog know the result? Fiancée Alo's hand paused halfway to the table. "Probably somebody at the lab. Your relative Alo's lab. Distant relative. You recommended him to protect you." Ni looked at the wine, then at her face. For 21 years, Fiancée Alo's certainty had felt like shelter. That night, for the first time, it felt like a locked door. By Saturday morning, the internet had decided who Zara was. People who had never met her called her a fraud, a gold digger, and a professional daughter. One commentator enlarged the blurred lobby photograph and mocked the stitches on her dress. Another said poor families had become too bold because social media rewarded shamelessness. A third person asked why a dying woman would wait 21 years to reveal a father unless money was involved. That question was shared 14,000 times. Zara did not reply to any of them. At 8:15, she submitted a formal complaint to Executive Gene Care. The letter did not accuse Sola of switching samples. It listed observable failures: incomplete identity documentation, failure to provide signed seal photographs, conflicting sample identifiers, absence of a complete custody form, and a potential conflict because the service provider had been selected by a person with a direct interest in the outcome. She copied Tola, Niyi, and the Consumer Protection Office named in the laboratory Alo's terms. "Facts first." "By 10:03, Sola replied. He said the identifier difference reflected routine internal accessioning. He attached a 1-page custody summary showing EG7414 converted to EG7491 during processing. The conversion line carried the initials SI. Zara read it twice, then she checked the time. According to the form, the conversion happened at 10:52 on collection day. At 10:52, the sample pouch had still been on the table in the Ikasia flat. Tola Alo's time-stamped photograph showed Sola holding it there at 10:56. Zara forwarded both documents to Tola. The reply came 3 minutes later. "Do not contact the laboratory by phone. Preserve every email. I am opening a legal evidence folder." Meanwhile, Lola George was asking different questions. She began with the gossip leak. The media director showed her the anonymous email that had led the blog to publish. Its attached PDF contained metadata naming the creator as Coca Laptop 2. Metadata could be altered, but it could also be stupidly honest. Lola requested the company Allo's endpoint logs. Funke Allo's second laptop had exported a PDF at 3:31 on Friday 6 minutes before Nii opened the official result. The file name was Zara Findenullering, PDF. There was no legitimate reason for Funke to possess a final result before Nii. Lola printed the log and placed it in a locked evidence cabinet. Next, she examined the vendor relationship. Executive Gene Care was not on the group Allo's approved list. Funke had used her executive authority to classify the test as confidential reputation management, then directed payment through her own office. The invoice was for 295,000 naira. The additional transfer of 873,500 naira did not appear in company accounts because it came from Funke Allo's personal bank. Lola did not know about that transfer yet, but banks remembered what people hoped to forget. At the Yabas house, Amaka Allo's first 48 hours after treatment were brutal. She vomited until only bitter fluid came up. Her legs became weak. She could not tolerate the smell of stew, soap, or even the menthol balm she had used for years. Zara slept on a mat beside the downstairs room the landlord had allowed them to use temporarily. Every 2 hours, she checked Amaka Allo's temperature. She recorded fluid intake on paper because the cracked phone battery could not be trusted. At 2:40 on Sunday morning, Amaka Allo's temperature reached 38.4 degrees. Zara called Meridian. The nurse told her to bring Amaka immediately because fever during cancer treatment could signal infection, especially when blood counts were low. Zara did not wait for daylight. She woke the landlord, borrowed his car, and sat in the back, holding her mother upright while he drove through empty streets. Amaka was admitted for observation and IV antibiotics. The treatment had not started killing the cancer so strongly that the body was celebrating. That was the romantic nonsense strangers posted online. Her body was under stress, and stress required medical attention. Dr. Sani explained it to Zara at 4:17. "You did the correct thing by calling," he said. "Do not wait with fever because somebody tells you to be strong. Strength is not staying at home until danger becomes drama." Zara nodded, exhausted. "Will the treatment stop?" "We may delay the next chemotherapy dose depending on her blood count. Delay is not failure. Adjustment is part of treatment." "Will the cancer grow because of a delay?" "One short delay does not automatically erase benefit. We balance treatment against what her body can safely carry." Zara wrote that down too. At 6:05, while Amaka slept, an elderly woman in the next bay began crying over a consent form. Her son had left to find money for food. She could read simple English, but not the medical language describing possible side effects. Zara moved her chair closer. "Ma, has the doctor explained it to you?" The woman shook her head. "They talked, but my head was turning. I do not want to sign what I do not understand. You should not." Zara called the nurse and asked for the doctor to explain again in simpler language. While they waited, she helped the woman list questions. What is the purpose? What are the common risks? What happens if I refuse? Are there alternatives? Can I take time to decide? She did not tell the woman what to choose. She helped her ask. Nii saw this from the corridor. He had come because Dr. Sani called to say Amaka had been admitted. He stood there for almost a minute without entering. Zara Allo's hair was tied carelessly. Her eyes were swollen from lack of sleep. She wore the same faded blue dress from the lobby because there had been no time to change. Still, She was helping somebody else, not performing for him. She did not know he was there. Niyi felt something inside him become unbearable. He had spent 2 decades building systems for buildings, hospitals, and housing estates. He demanded redundancies in power supply, independent checks in procurement, and audit trails for every major contract. Yet when the matter became personal, he had accepted one conclusion from a process selected by Fiancée and used it as a weapon. He entered quietly. Zara saw him and went still. The elderly woman looked between them. "Ah, my daughter, is this your husband?" "No, Ma." Niyi almost choked. The woman nodded. "Good. His face is too serious." Despite herself, Zara Allo's mouth moved. Dr. Sani came down the corridor. "Mr. Adeyemi, hope no problem? I heard Amaka was admitted. She is stable." Zara acted quickly. "Can I see her?" "That is for Amaka to decide when she wakes." Ni accepted the correction. Then he turned to Zara. "I came to apologize." She looked at the sleeping patients around them. "This is not the place." "Then tell me where." "There is a courtyard downstairs." They went down at 7:10. Rainwater still clung to the leaves around the concrete benches. A security man slept behind the gate with a radio against his chest. Niyi remained standing. "I was wrong to confront your mother during treatment," he said. "I was wrong to withdraw the flat in anger. I was wrong to speak as if the result proved motive as well as biology." Zara sat with both hands around a paper cup of tea. "Continue." "I allowed humiliation to decide my behavior." "Continue," he breathed out. "I punished you because I felt foolish." "Yes, I am sorry." She watched him for a long moment. "An apology cannot order my heart to become soft, sir. Let the truth arrive first. Then let your conduct show whether the apology has legs." "I understand, do you?" "I am trying to." She looked down at her tea. The flat was not the worst part. "What was?" "You saw my mother attached to an IV, and decided that was the correct moment to prove you could still control something." Ni had no defense. "You were correct to ask for a test," Zara continued. "You were correct not to accept a letter as proof. But suspicion does not require cruelty. Procedure does not require contempt. I know." "Now you know," he nodded. "What do you need today?" he asked. "For you not to ask that as if a check can repair the morning. Then what can I do?" "Pay the treatment invoice you already promised. Do not make new promises while angry or guilty. Ask your compliance officer why the blog had the result before we did. Ask the laboratory for the raw data and full custody record. And leave my mother Allo's medical decisions to my mother." Niyi sat beside her. "You should have been a lawyer." "I prefer work that helps people before court becomes necessary." They sat in silence. At 8:02, Amaka woke and agreed to see him for 5 minutes. Niyi entered alone. She looked smaller beneath the hospital blanket. A cannula ran into her wrist. Her scarf had slipped, revealing strands of hair damp with sweat. "I am sorry," he said. "For which year?" "All of them, beginning with this week." Amaka turned towards the window. "The result is wrong. I have asked Lola to investigate the process." "You should have investigated before you broke Zara Allo's heart." "Yes," that answer made her look back. "Funke arranged the photographs 21 years ago," Amaka said. "I could never prove it. The man was a colleague from teacher training college. He had just lost his father. Outside the restaurant, he hugged me. One photograph caught his cheek near mine. Another caught him holding my hand while I consoled him. His name? Dare Balogun. He moved to Canada years ago. We were never lovers." Niyi closed his eyes briefly. Amaka continued. "After you blocked me, I came to your office on September 2. Funke met me downstairs. She said you had instructed her to keep me away. I gave her a letter. The receipt carries her signature. I came again on September 19. She showed me your engagement announcement. I was not engaged. I know that now. She told you I was. She showed me a card with your name and hers. She said the ceremony was private. Nii felt cold. Amaka reached into the drawer beside the bed and removed a plastic envelope. Inside was a yellowed printout. This is the email I received from your account. He had already seen a copy. The original carried more. At the bottom, the cybercafe printer had included full header data and a timestamp. August 26, 2004, 9:14 p.m. Nii remembered that date. He had been on a flight to Abuja from 8:35 until 9:47. Internet access on domestic flights did not exist then. The message had been sent while his phone was off, and his office computer was accessible to Fiancée. "Why did you keep this?" he asked. "Because when somebody rewrites your life, paper can remind you that you are not mad." Nii held the brittle page carefully. "I need to take a forensic copy. You may photograph it. The original stays with me." "Fair." He photographed each page while Amaka watched. Before he left, she spoke again. "If the second test also says you are not Zara Allo's father, what will you do?" Nii looked towards the door, where Zara Allo's shadow moved past the glass. "I will accept the biology." "And her?" he thought before answering. "I will not pretend the last 2 weeks did not happen. I will not abandon your treatment. I will apologize without asking her to continue calling me anything." Amaka studied him. "That is better than the man who entered here on Friday. Not difficult." By Monday, Lola Allo's investigation had become formal. She preserved the laptop export logs, copied the gossip email metadata, and asked the IT department to create an image of Fiancée Allo's device without alerting her. Tola obtained a court-backed preservation notice preventing executive gene care from deleting footage, custody records, access logs, or payment documents. Sola called Fiancée at 6:33 that evening. "They are asking for the storage room footage," he said. "You told me the camera failed." "It did." "For how long?" 17 minutes. "Then what is the problem?" "The network log shows the camera was disabled from my administrator account." Fiancée closed her office door. "Say maintenance used your account." "There was no maintenance person in the building. Create one." "Funk, this is not an invoice you can edit. They sent a preservation notice." Her voice became soft. "Do you remember the 23 million naira tax issue I solved for you last year?" Sola went quiet. "Do you remember who kept your wife from discovering the apartment in Lekki?" "That has nothing to do with... It has everything to do with whether you become brave now. Fix the records. If I alter anything after notice, it becomes worse. It is already worse. Choose who you want standing beside you." She ended the call. Sola stared at his phone. For the first time, he understood that Fiancée never stood beside anybody. She stood behind them until pushing became useful. On Tuesday, Nii requested a second paternity test through a laboratory selected jointly by Tola and a medical geneticist who had no relationship with any party. To reduce the risk of another disputed result, 2 sets of samples would be collected at Meridian Oncology Center. Identity documents would be checked. Photographs would be taken. Zara and Nii would sign across tamper-evident seals. 1 set would go by tracked courier to a Lagos facility. The duplicate would go to an independent laboratory in South Africa. Amaka asked why 2 laboratories were necessary. Tola answered plainly, "Not because 1 good laboratory is normally insufficient. Because the first process has been compromised and everybody needs a result that can survive scrutiny." The collection took place at 2:25 on July 21. Dr. Sani witnessed it. Lola witnessed it. Zara photographed every seal. Niyi wrote the numbers in his own notebook. No Fiancée, no Sola. After signing, Niyi looked at Zara. Whatever this says, I will not behave as I did before. She placed her copy in a folder. The paper will test biology. Your behavior is a separate examination. He almost smiled. You do not make anything easy. Easy things created this problem. They left the room together, but not as father and daughter. Not yet. Fiancée learned about the second test through a calendar entry on Niyi Alo's assistant, Alo's shared system. By then, she had lost access to the compliance investigation, but she still controlled company finance and several board relationships. She decided that if she could not stop the result, she would make Niyi Alo's leadership collapse before it arrived. On Wednesday morning, every board member received an anonymous package containing selected bank records, photographs of Niyi at Meridian, and a forged internal email suggesting he had authorized 48 million naira of company funds for Amaka Alo's private treatment and Zara Alo's housing. The real payments had come from his personal account. The forged approval made them appear corporate. By noon, the board chair demanded an emergency meeting for Friday, July 24. The same day, the company planned to launch its Community Cancer Access Fund before journalists and hospital partners. Fiancée entered Niyi Alo's office carrying the summons. Her face was composed. Her eyes were not. This is what your new family has brought you, she said. Scandal, forged claims, board rebellion. You should have thrown that girl out on the first day. Niyi read the summons. Then he looked at her. Did you leak the first result? Fiancée laughed. We are facing removal from our own company, and you are asking childish questions. Did you send the PDF to the blog before I opened it? Niyi, focus. I am focused. She stepped closer. I protected you when you had nothing. I sat in offices without electricity. I negotiated with men who would not look at me because I was a woman. I built this company beside you. Now one sick teacher and her rude daughter appear, and suddenly I am the enemy? You did not answer. Her lips tightened. I sent nothing. Niyi held her gaze. For the first time, he knew she was lying while she was still speaking. At 4:42 that afternoon, Lola entered his office with 2 sealed folders. One is the preliminary result from the Lagos laboratory, she said. The second is a certified copy of Ademi Project's Alo incoming mail register from 2004. Niyi stood. Lola placed the mail register on the desk first. 3 entries carried Amaka Okoro Alo's name. All 3 were signed by Fiancée Coker. Beside the third entry, in Fiancée Alo's own handwriting, were 6 words: return if she comes again. Personal directive. Niyi Alo's skin went cold. I never gave that directive. I know, Lola said. The signature authorizing it does not match yours. The ink impression suggests Fiancée wrote the note and added your initials. Niyi looked at the sealed laboratory envelope. Open it, he said. Lola did. She read silently, then she lifted her eyes. The result states a probability of paternity greater than 99%. The office made no sound. Niyi gripped the edge of his desk. Zara was his daughter. The joy came first, sharp and almost painful. Then memory struck behind it. Zara returning the keys. Zara standing beside her mother, Alo Zafor. Zara asking whether his apology had legs. He had found his daughter. He had also already taught her how quickly he could discard her. Lola closed the folder. The South African result is expected tomorrow morning. Tola recommends we wait before making any public statement. Niyi nodded. Does Zara know? Not yet. I will tell her. Sir, the board meeting begins at 10 tomorrow. Fiancée intends to accuse you publicly. Then let her. Lola studied his face. What are you planning? For once, not revenge. He looked at the mail register again. Evidence. Nii did not call Zara that evening. He drove to Meridian instead. Amaka had been discharged after her fever settled, but she remained weak and was receiving hydration in the day unit. Zara sat beside her, reading a booklet about managing treatment side effects. When Nii entered, she looked at his face and closed the booklet slowly. What happened? He placed the sealed laboratory report on the table. The first independent result came. Amaka Alo's hand tightened around the blanket. Zara did not reach for the envelope, and Nii Alo's voice failed once before he found it. Greater than 99. 99% probability that I am your biological father. Amaka shut her eyes. One tear moved down the side of her face. Zara remained still. Nii had expected relief, perhaps anger, perhaps even an embrace he knew he had not earned. What he saw instead was a young woman protecting herself from hope. The second laboratory, she asked. Tomorrow morning, then we wait. Nii nodded. Yes. Amaka opened her eyes. I did not need 2 laboratories to know who fathered my child. No, Nii said. But Zara needed a process nobody could poison. That answer reached her. Zara picked up the report at last. She read the names, the seal references, the loci table, and the conclusion. Her fingers trembled only when she reached the final paragraph. You are my father, she whispered. Yes. The word filled the space between them. Zara looked at him. Do not ask me to call you Daddy today. I will not. Do not announce me to newspapers. I will not. Do not use this result to make decisions for my mother. I will not. She searched his face as if checking for hidden conditions. Then she asked, What will you do? Nii sat down opposite her. Tomorrow, I will present the evidence to the board. Funke forged internal records to make it appear. I used company money for your mother Alla's treatment. The meeting will include journalists because of the fund launch. I would prefer to handle the paternity matter privately, but Funke has already made it public and used you as an accusation. Zara Alo's expression hardened. So you want me on a stage? No. I want your permission before your name, medical information, or test result is shown. You may refuse. We can redact everything and deal with the company issue without your presence. She looked at Amaka. Amaka spoke carefully. What do you want, Zara? I want that woman to stop using our silence as evidence that she is right. That is not the same as wanting the whole of Lagos inside our family. I know. Dr. Sani entered with a nurse, saw the open report and understood from their faces. Good news? He asked. The first independent test confirms paternity, Nii said. Dr. Sani nodded once. Then congratulations to the biology. The relationships still need work. Zara gave a small, tired laugh. Nii explained the board meeting. Dr. Sani listened, then turned to Amaka. You are not attending anything tomorrow, he said. Amaka frowned. You became dizzy walking 12 meters this afternoon. Your blood pressure is low. If you attend, you sit, hydrate, and leave the moment I say. Better still, join by video. Funke had once controlled the story because everybody else made decisions around Amaka. Nii refused to repeat that pattern. Amaka chooses, he said. She looked at him with surprise. I will attend, she decided. Not for the whole event, only the evidence session. I want to hear what she says when paper can answer her. Zara nodded. Then I attend too. Nii turned to her. The Tola will explain exactly what can be disclosed. You can withdraw consent at any point before the presentation. Good. At 7:20 the next morning, the South African laboratory sent its certified report. It matched the first, greater than 99% probability. At 8:05, Sola eBay arrived at Tola Daniels Alo's office with his own lawyer. He had not slept. His shirt collar was damp, and the confidence he wore during the first test had disappeared. A preservation notice, a bank inquiry, and the threat of professional suspension had done what guilt alone had failed to do. His lawyer placed a signed statement on the table. Sola admitted that Fiancée had instructed him to substitute Niyi Alo's sample. He described the camera shutdown, the duplicate security strip, and the false conversion record. He provided the account details of the consulting company that received Fiancée Alo's transfer. He did not confess because his conscience suddenly became pure. He confessed because evidence had closed the doors. Tola asked one question. Why did you agree? Sola looked down. Money. And because she had information she could use against me. Did she threaten you? She reminded me of things she had hidden for me. So you helped her erase another person, Alo's father. His face tightened. Yes. Your cooperation may be considered by investigators. It does not cancel what you did. I know. At 9:32, Harbour Crest Tower filled with guests for the Community Cancer Access Fund launch. Banners stood behind the registration desk. Doctors, charity representatives, journalists, and investors moved through the same marble lobby where Fiancée had ordered Zara thrown out 15 days earlier. Zara entered through the main doors. This time, nobody touched her. She wore a simple rust-colored dress borrowed from her coursemate and flat black shoes. Amaka walked beside her with a cane, moving slowly. Dr. Sani had insisted on a wheelchair, but she agreed only to let one follow behind. Bode, the security officer who had gripped Zara Alo's arm, was at the checkpoint. He lowered his eyes. Miss Okoro, he said, I am sorry for what happened that day. Zara stopped. Fiancée had given the instruction, but his hands had carried it out. Why did you obey her? Zara asked. Bode swallowed. I was afraid of losing my job. Were you afraid I would lose my dignity? He looked at the floor. No. That is the part you should think about. I have thought about it every day. Zara nodded. Then next time, ask what a person has done before you drag them like a thief. Yes, Ma. She walked on. Forgiveness did not require pretending nothing happened. The emergency board session began at 10 in the 23rd floor conference hall. The first 3 rows held directors and legal advisors. Behind them sat fund partners and invited press. The public launch was scheduled for 11, but Fiancée had demanded that the governance allegations be addressed first. She arrived in a dark red suit. Her makeup was flawless. She had spent the previous night preparing to destroy Niyi Alo's credibility before he could destroy hers. The board chair, Chief Kola Adebayo, opened the meeting. He was 61, impatient and known for disliking surprises, unless he had arranged them. We are here to address allegations of misuse of corporate funds, undisclosed conflicts, and reputational damage. He said, because documents have already leaked, and the charity launch involves public partners, Council has advised a transparent evidentiary session. Fiancée requested the floor. She stood with a folder in her hand and sorrow arranged across her face. For 21 years, I have protected this company and the man who founded it, she began. 2 weeks ago, a young woman entered our building with an emotional claim and a carefully prepared medical story. Mr. Adeyemi abandoned proper judgment. He diverted resources, disrupted negotiations, and allowed personal guilt to influence corporate decisions. Zara sat beside Amaka in the second row. Fiancée looked directly at her. This woman presented herself as his daughter. A scientific test proved she was not. Yet instead of accepting truth, she attacked the laboratory, manipulated public sympathy, and continued demanding access to a family and fortune that did not belong to her. A murmur moved through the hall. Zara Allo's hands stayed folded. Funke continued. Poor people are no longer content to knock at the gate. Now they arrive with hospital folders and expect wealth to kneel. Must every executive become father to any adult girl who studies his old photographs? Chief Kohler frowned. Madam Coker, address the financial allegation. Avoid personal abuse. Funke lifted the forged payment approval. This document shows 48 million naira, authorized from the company, Allo's social impact account, for private treatment, housing, and legal services. Mr. Adeyemi concealed the beneficiary relationship from the board. She placed copies before the directors. Nii did not interrupt. That unsettled her. When Funke finished, Chief Kohler turned to him. Mr. Adeyemi? Nii stood. The payments for Amako Okoro Allo's assessment, treatment, and temporary housing came from my personal account, I said. The document presented by Madam Coker is forged. Our bank records and audit logs are available. Funke laughed softly. Of course you will say that. Nii looked at Chief Kohler. With permission, I would like our head of compliance to present the evidence in sequence. Proceed. Lola walked to the front. She did not look triumphant. She looked prepared. The first screen displayed the real bank transfers from Nii Allo's personal account. Dates, amounts, and recipients matched hospital invoices. The corporate social impact account showed no corresponding withdrawals. The second screen displayed the metadata of the forged approval. It had been created on Funkelo's laptop at 2:11 on Tuesday morning. Funke rose. Metadata can be manufactured. Tola spoke from Counsel O's table. Correct. That is why the device image, server log, and cryptographic hash have been preserved for independent examination. Funke sat. Lola showed the gossip leak next. The negative paternity PDF had been exported from Funkelo's second laptop at 3:31 on July 17, 6 minutes before Nii received the official report. The anonymous email to the blog had been sent through a temporary account created from the same device. The room changed. Journalists stopped typing for 1 second, then typed faster. Funke Allo's face remained still, but one hand closed around her pen. This proves only that I received information early and tried to manage a crisis, she said. How did you receive it? Chief Kohler asked. From the laboratory. Why? I was protecting the company. Lola moved to the next slide. This is the first laboratory report. The sample number witnessed at collection for Mr. Adeyemi was EG7414. The report tested EG7491. Executive Gene Care supplied a conversion record stating the identifier changed at 10:52 on collection day. Tola displayed a photograph of Sola holding the unopened pouch in the Ikiga flat at 10:56. 4 minutes after the supposed accessioning, the hall went silent. Funke stood again. Administrative errors happen. Yes, Lola said. That is why we did not stop there. The screen showed the storage room access log. Sola entered at 11:26. The camera had been disabled from his account for 17 minutes. The screen then showed the transfer of 873,500 naira from Funke Allo's personal account to a company linked to Sola Allo's associate. Funke Allo's pen snapped. A small piece of plastic fell onto the table. Nobody spoke. Tola rose. Mr. Ibe has given a statement in the presence of counsel. He admits substituting Mr. Adeyemi Allo's sample at Madam Coker Allo's instruction. His statement, the physical seal batch, Bank transfer and access records have been forwarded to the appropriate investigators and professional regulators. Fiancée Alo's face drained. No, she said. Sola is lying to save himself. Then let us move to the independent results, Lola replied. The screen displayed both certified reports, one from Lagos and one from South Africa. Different laboratories. Separate sealed samples. Matching conclusion. Niyi Adeyemi was Zara Okoro Alo's biological father, with a probability greater than 99%. The silence broke into gasps. Every camera turned towards Zara. She did not smile. She looked at Fiancée. Fiancée looked back as if hatred alone could erase the screen. Niyi stepped towards the microphone. Zara consented to disclosure of the conclusion for this hearing. Because Madam Coker made the allegation public, no raw genetic data will be released to the media. That sentence mattered, he had learned. Fiancée Alo's voice rose. A paternity result does not prove anything about 21 years ago. Lola changed the screen. The 2004 incoming mail register appeared. 3 letters from Amaka Okoro, 3 signatures from Fiancée Coker. Then the handwritten instruction, return if she comes again, personal directive. Niyi addressed the board. I gave no such directive. Fiancée laughed too loudly. After 2 decades, anybody can produce an old book, Tola answered. The register came from off-site corporate archives. Its custody history predates the current dispute. Ink and handwriting comparison are ongoing. The next document was Amaka Alo's original cybercafe email printout. The message rejecting her pregnancy had been sent from Niyi Alo's account at 9:14 p.m. on August 26, 2004. Travel records showed Niyi was airborne between Lagos and Abuja at that time. IT archives from the old company showed Fiancée Alo's administrator profile logged into his office terminal. The final screen displayed scanned photographs of Amaka and Dare Balagun outside the restaurant. The full contact sheet, obtained from the retired photographer, Alo's archive, showed what the cropped images had removed. Other college friends standing nearby, a condolence card in Dare Alo's hand, and Amaka Alo's cousin beside them. The supposed secret romantic meeting had been a group gathering after Dare Alo's father, Alo's funeral. Fiancée Alo's story collapsed piece by piece, not with shouting, with records. Chief Kola removed his glasses. Madam Coker, do you wish to respond? Fiancée stood slowly. Her voice trembled, then hardened. Yes. I did what was necessary. Amaka was wrong for him. She had no ambition, no connections, no understanding of the life Niyi was building. She would have pulled him backward. Amaka inhaled sharply. Fiancée pointed towards Zara. Look at them. 1 sick teacher and 1 rude girl in borrowed clothes. This is what all of you want to destroy a 21-year partnership for. Zara rose. Tola touched her arm. You do not have to answer. She walked to the microphone. Fiancée looked her up and down. Do not imagine a DNA report has made you my equal. Zara Isle's voice was steady. This is not about equality with you, Ma. It is about what you did when you believed other people were beneath consequence. Fiancée opened her mouth. Zara continued. You intercepted a pregnant woman, Alo's letters. You sent lies from another person, Alo's account. You cropped grief into adultery. You corrupted a medical test and used the result to make the public laugh at my mother, Alo's illness. Then you stood in this room and called it protection. Fiancée Alo's eyes shone with rage. I loved him. Love does not erase another woman, Alo's voice. Love does not falsify science. What you protected was not love, Ma. It was control. The words traveled through the hall. Fiancée turned to Niyi. Tell them. Tell them who stayed when your first project failed. Tell them who borrowed money from her family. Tell them who built this empire beside you. Nii stood. You did, he said. Hope flashed across her face. And because you did, I trusted you beyond reason. That was my failure. Her hope vanished. Nii faced the room. Funk manipulated evidence, but I made choices. I chose not to hear Amaka 21 years ago. I chose a convenient laboratory because I feared scandal. I chose to punish Zara when the result embarrassed me. Wealth did not force those choices. Funka did not control my mouth when I spoke cruelly beside a hospital bed. Zara looked at him. He did not ask forgiveness. He accepted blame. Chief Kohler consulted the other directors in a low voice. The board voted to suspend Funke immediately, revoke her access, and commission a full independent audit. The legal team confirmed that evidence had been referred for investigation into fraud, unauthorized access, evidence tampering, and related offenses. Funke laughed again, but nothing human remained in the sound. You think you have won? She asked Zara. You think his money will wash 21 years of poverty from your skin? Zara answered quietly. Poverty was never the dirt in this room. The cleaner from the lobby was standing near the back, with other staff invited to the fund launch. She lowered her eyes again. This time, she did not hide her smile. Security approached Funke. Bodhi was among them. For one suspended moment, Funke stood in the same position Zara had occupied 15 days earlier, watched by executives, unable to command the room. Nii raised one hand. No dragging, he said. No insults. Escort her out, according to policy. Funke stared at him. Even now, he would not give her the violent humiliation she had given Zara. That was the difference. Bode opened the door. Madam, please. Funke lifted her bag, straightened her jacket, and walked through the hall while every person moved aside. Her heels struck the floor with hard, lonely clicks. The sound followed her into the lift. The board session ended at 11:26. The fund launch did not begin immediately. Nii asked the guests to remain while the structure was revised publicly. The Community Cancer Access Fund will not carry my name, he announced. It will not carry Zara Allo's name or use Amaka Allo's treatment as promotional content. An independent clinical and social work panel will determine support based on need, medical appropriateness, and transparent criteria. Donors will not select individual patients for publicity. He turned to Zara. She has agreed to advise on patient communication and consent, subject to a written contract and fair payment. She has not agreed to become anybody Allo's inspirational poster. A ripple of restrained laughter moved through the room. Zara nodded. Amaka tried to stand. The cane slipped from her hand. Her body folded before anybody understood what was happening. Mummy! Zara caught one shoulder. Nii caught the other. Dr. Sani pushed through the row, lowered Amaka carefully to the floor, and checked her pulse. She is breathing. Give space. The cameras turned. Nii stepped between them and Amaka. No photographs, he said. His voice cut through the room. Put those cameras down. For once, protection did not mean control. It meant privacy. Amaka had hidden worsening dizziness all morning because she feared missing the evidence session. Her blood pressure had dropped from dehydration, and her hemoglobin had fallen after treatment. She was taken by ambulance to Meridian, while Zara rode beside her. Nii followed in another car. The public victory remained behind in the glittering tower. Real life continued in the ambulance. Amaka regained full consciousness 23 minutes after reaching Meridian. Her blood pressure improved with fluids. A blood transfusion was arranged after repeat tests confirmed that her hemoglobin had fallen low enough to explain the dizziness and weakness. Dr. Sani postponed the next chemotherapy session by 6 days and adjusted the supportive medicines. Nobody called the delay defeat. Zara sat beside the bed holding her mother Alo's hand. Nii stood near the door until Amaka opened her eyes and saw him. Did we finish? She asked. Zara laughed through tears. Mummy, you fainted after the most important part. Did Funky leave? Yes. Yes. Good. Nobody should drag her. Nii stepped closer. You frightened us. Amaka looked at him. Use? He glanced at Zara. Use. Amaka Alo's eyes softened, but only slightly. Do not carry yourself on your head, because one test has confirmed what I told you. I am trying not to. Good. Zara needs a father, not an owner. Nii nodded. I am learning the difference. The learning took time. During the next 4 months, Nii discovered that fatherhood could not be deposited like money. Zara did not move into his mansion. She and Amaka returned to the Ikeja flat under a new agreement that gave them 6 months of secure tenancy while treatment continued. Zara accepted help with tuition only after a lawyer documented it as an educational trust that did not depend on her public relationship with Nii. She refused his surname. For now, I am Zara Okoro. She told him. My mother carried that name with me when you were absent. He did not argue. He also stopped arriving without calling. He learned that treatment days were not family reunion opportunities. Sometimes Amaka wanted him there. Sometimes she wanted silence. Once, after waiting outside for 2 hours, he was told she had changed her mind and did not wish to see anybody. He went home. That was progress. Amaka Alo's treatment did not follow a clean upward line. Some weeks her blood results were strong enough to continue on schedule. Other weeks she developed severe diarrhea, exhaustion or pain that required medication changes. She lost weight before slowly gaining part of it back. Her skin became dry. Food tasted metallic. On certain mornings, the distance from bed to bathroom felt longer than the road from Lagos to Kano. Zara kept a red notebook. Temperature, fluids, medicines, symptoms, questions. Dr. Sani often reminded her that she was a daughter, not a machine. You must sleep, he said one afternoon. Caregivers can collapse while everybody is watching the patient. Who will watch her if I sleep? The nurse, your father, the neighbor. Anybody you trust for 2 hours. Zara squeezed her face at the word father. Dr. Sani smiled. Biology has entered the building. Relationship is still climbing the stairs. Eventually, she allowed Nii to stay with Amaka on Thursday evenings while she attended a restored online class. The first evening, she left 4 pages of instructions on the kitchen table. Nii read all 4. At 8:12, Amaka asked for water. He brought it too cold. At 8:20, she asked for her nausea medicine. He reached for the wrong packet and stopped when he saw the color-coded chart Zara had prepared. At 8:31, Amaka looked at him and said, You run a company with 3,000 staff, but 1 medicine box has defeated you. Nii laughed. The medicine box does not fear me. Good. Something should humble you. They laughed together for the first time in 21 years. The sound did not erase the past. It made room beside it. Funke Alo's case moved more slowly than social media wanted. Investigators interviewed staff, examined devices, and traced financial records. Her lawyers challenged the collection of some evidence and argued that the company dispute had contaminated the criminal complaint. Hearings were adjourned. Documents were verified. Solal's statement was tested against logs and bank records. Justice was not one dramatic gavel. It was paperwork that refused to disappear. Executive Gene Care suspended Sola immediately. The relevant professional body later revoked the credential under which he supervised identity-sensitive sample collection. He was charged in connection with evidence tampering and false documentation. His cooperation reduced some consequences, but it did not return him to the position he had abused. Fiancée was eventually convicted on counts relating to fraudulent electronic access, falsification of records, interference with evidence, and conspiracy. The court ordered restitution for documented investigation costs and imposed a custodial sentence. Separate corporate proceedings barred her from serving as an officer of the group and pursued recovery of funds linked to the scheme. She did not lose everything because she loved the wrong man. She lost power because she repeatedly treated other people, Alo's rights, as obstacles. Bode faced disciplinary action too. The company did not dismiss him immediately because the review found that Fiancée had created a culture where security staff feared punishment for questioning executive instructions. He received a final warning, completed de-escalation and dignity training, and later helped rewrite lobby procedures. The new rule was simple. Clothing, accent, and perceived wealth could never be treated as evidence of danger. When Zara reviewed the draft, she added one sentence. A person requesting access may be refused according to procedure, but must never be insulted, physically handled, or publicly degraded unless an immediate safety threat requires intervention. Bode signed the training register beneath it. 11 months after the letter, Amaka underwent follow-up imaging. The active disease had reduced dramatically. No clear distant spread was seen. Dr. Sani used the phrase complete clinical response with caution and explained that it did not mean nobody would ever need to worry again. You will continue follow-up, he told her. Regular examination. Imaging when indicated. Report bleeding, pain, urinary changes, or unexplained weight loss. We celebrate today, but we do not throw away tomorrow, Alo's appointments. Amaka wiped her eyes. Doctor, can I call myself well? You can call yourself recovering. Can I return to teaching? Part-time first. Your body is not a generator you kick until it starts. She laughed. Zara cried openly. Nee stood behind them, one hand over his mouth. That evening, they ate at the small dining table in the Ikeja flat rather than at an expensive restaurant. Amaka requested jollof rice, grilled fish, and cold malt. She managed half a plate. Zara made a speech nobody had asked for, thanking Dr. Sani, the nurses, the landlord, Tola, and Lola. Then she looked at Niyi. And thank you for learning that help must come with ears. Niyi raised his glass. I am still learning. Yes, Zara said. Do not graduate yourself. Everybody laughed. By then, she called him Dad sometimes. Not every time. The first time happened by accident. They were leaving the hospital when she realized her red notebook was missing. Dad, hold this bag. He took it. Both of them froze. Zara stared at the floor. Niyi stared at the bag as if it had become sacred. Neither mentioned it. But he smiled all the way to the car. Zara returned to her program and completed the semester she had deferred. Her final project examined barriers that prevented low-income patients from understanding referral letters, test reports, and consent documents. She interviewed patients who had delayed care because they thought a complex letter meant treatment was impossible. She found people who had paid agents to interpret documents the hospital would have explained freely. She also found families who lost weeks moving between offices because nobody told them which records to keep. From that work came the urgent letter desk. The first desk opened in a corner of Meridian Oncology Center with 2 chairs, a locked cabinet, and 1 refurbished computer. It was not a charity theater. Patients did not stand before cameras describing their suffering. Trained volunteers helped them organize records, prepare questions, apply for verified financial assistance, and request explanations in language they understood. A notice above the desk read, "You have the right to ask what a document means before you sign it. You have the right to know the purpose, risks, and alternatives of treatment. You have the right to keep copies of your results. You have the right to be treated with dignity, whether or not you can pay today." The Community Cancer Access Fund supported the desk, but an independent panel controlled patient selection and spending. NII could not choose beneficiaries. Donors could not demand photographs. Zara Allo's contract paid her for professional work, and every public use of her name required fresh consent. Lola insisted on those controls. "Good intentions without structure can still become abuse," she said. Zara agreed. 18 months after the day in the lobby, Amaka was strong enough to return to teaching 3 mornings each week. Her hair had grown back around her temples. She still tired easily, and she carried a folder of follow-up appointments in her handbag, but she walked without a cane most days. NII and Amaka had spent 9 months in family counseling. The counselor did not allow them to turn Fiancée into an explanation for everything. Fiancée had lied. NII had refused to listen. Amaka had protected Zara with silence for years, even after public information might have made contact possible. Each choice had reasons. Reasons were not the same as innocence. One Sunday afternoon, NII visited Amaka at her new apartment. Zara had moved into student accommodation closer to her practical placement, though she came home most weekends. Amaka served tea. NII did not touch it. "You are squeezing your face," she said. "Hope no problem? I want to ask you something. If it is marriage, drink your tea first. Your throat is already dry." He laughed nervously. "It is not marriage." "Good, you are not ready, I know." He looked at her across the small table. "I want permission to court you again, properly. Not as repayment, not because we share Zara, and not because illness frightens us. I want to know who you are now." Amaka stirred her tea. "And if you do not like who I am now, then I will respect the answer. And if I do not like who you are, the same." She watched him for a long moment. "One dinner," she said. "Public place. I choose it. You arrive on time. No security man sitting at the next table." NII smiled. "Agreed. And you will not buy the restaurant because you dislike the service." "I have done that only once. Once is enough to put it in the rules." Their second beginning was slower than their first. That made it stronger. 6 weeks before that Monday morning, Zara completed her final professional assessment. The graduation hall at her training college was hot, despite 3 standing fans turning at full speed. Families filled the plastic chairs with flowers, food flasks and phones raised above their heads. Every few minutes, somebody shouted a graduate Allo's name before the announcer reached it. NII arrived 20 minutes early. He came without a press team, without a company banner, and without the habit of making himself the most important person in any room. He sat beside Amaka in the 4th row and held her handbag while she adjusted the scarf around her neck. "You are nervous," Amaka said. "I negotiate contracts worth billions. And your daughter collecting one certificate has made your palm wet. That is different. Yes, this one matters to your heart, not only your balance sheet." When Zara Allo's name was called, she crossed the stage in a blue gown and accepted the certificate with both hands. Her classmates cheered. Amaka stood first. NII stood after her and clapped until the people behind them complained that he was blocking their view. Later, outside the hall, a photographer asked Zara to stand between her parents. The word parents made all three of them pause. Zara looked at Amaka. Then she looked at Nii. Come, she said. They stood together. Nii placed one hand behind Zara Alo's shoulder, but did not pull her closer. He waited. Zara moved the final inch herself. The camera clicked. It was the first photograph of the three of them. Afterwards, Nii presented her with a slim envelope. Zara narrowed her eyes. What is inside? Read it before accusing me. She opened it. There was no check. It was a letter confirming that the Educational Trust had paid the final balance of her tuition and would release the remaining funds only for postgraduate study, professional certification, or a public health project she selected. Nii had no authority to withdraw the money if she disagreed with him. Zara read the last clause twice. You removed yourself as sole controller. Yes. Tola and an independent trustee must approve any changes. Why? Because love should not require you to remain obedient in order to feel secure. Zara looked at him for a long time. Then she hugged him. It was not the desperate embrace of somebody afraid to be abandoned. It was chosen freely, in daylight, after evidence, accountability, and months of ordinary effort. Nii closed his eyes. Thank you, Dad, she whispered. He did not answer immediately because his voice had disappeared. Amaka rescued him by saying, Do not start crying and disgrace us in front of the photographer. I am not crying. You are blinking like Nipa is taking light inside your eyes. Zara laughed against his shoulder. The photographer captured that moment too. Months later, the first family portrait hung in Nii Alo's private study, not in the company lobby. Zara had insisted on that distinction. Their reunion was not a brand campaign. The urgent letter desk expanded gradually. The first 3 months produced more demand than the volunteers could handle, so Zara worked with social workers to create a triage system. Emergency symptoms went directly to clinical staff. Financial applications were checked against clear criteria. Questions about consent were referred back to treating professionals rather than answered by unqualified volunteers. Every worker signed confidentiality rules. Every patient chose whether relatives could receive information. Nobody was promised money merely because a story sounded painful. This made the project less dramatic than online charity videos and far more useful. One afternoon, a donor asked to film a woman receiving support and hand her a check on camera. Zara refused. But people donate when they see emotion. The donor argued. Then show the audited accounts, waiting time reductions, and number of patients assisted, Zara said. Do not ask a woman to display her fear so you can display your generosity. The donor threatened to withdraw funding. Nii heard about the dispute and called Zara. Do you need me to speak to him? No. What will you do? Replace the money if he leaves? Nii smiled. Good answer. Do not secretly replace it yourself. His smile disappeared. You know me too well. Yes, Dad. That is why the governance rules have legs. The donor stayed after Lola offered him a different form of recognition that did not expose patients. A wall plaque thanked all contributors equally, regardless of amount. The largest giver received no larger font. That policy irritated several wealthy people. It also protected the desk. 2 years after the torn letter, Zara was working at the urgent letter desk on a crowded Monday morning. The waiting area held traders, civil servants, artisans, and people who had traveled from outside Lagos before sunrise. Some carried thick files. Some carried only one piece of paper, folded until the creases had almost torn through it. An older woman approached Zara Alo's desk at 11:38. Her wrapper was tied tightly at the waist, and worry had drawn deep lines around her mouth. She held out a wrinkled envelope. "My daughter," she said. "I do not understand what they wrote here. They said it is urgent." I was afraid to open it. Zara stood and pulled out the chair beside her. "Sit down, Ma." The woman hesitated. "I do not have money for consultation." "This desk is not selling respect." She sat. Zara opened the envelope carefully. It was a referral for further breast assessment after an abnormal screening result. The letter did not say the woman had cancer. It said more tests were needed. Zara explained each line without promising an outcome. "None. This result is not a final diagnosis," she said. "It means the clinic saw something that must be checked properly. We will call the referral center, confirm your appointment, and write down the questions you should ask." The woman Al's shoulders lowered. "So I should not go home and start arranging my burial?" "No, Ma. You should not allow fear to finish a story the doctors have not finished investigating." At the far end of the waiting area, Niyi stood beside Amaka. He had come to deliver audited fund reports, not to make a speech. He watched Zara help the woman organize her papers. He did not enter the moment. He did not announce that she was his daughter, or that the desk existed partly because of his money. Amaka slipped her hand into his. She became what the letter needed. "Ah," she said. Niyi looked at Zara. "What do you mean?" "Someone who reads before judging. Someone who explains before commanding. Someone who knows urgency is not permission to take away dignity." On Zara Alao's desk, beneath the clear protective cover, lay the two torn halves of Amaka Alao's original letter. They had been repaired with archival tape, but the scar through the paper remained visible. Zara kept it there for one reason. Not every torn thing should be hidden after repair. Some scars are instructions. From my own perspective, the most painful betrayal in this story was not only the corrupted DNA result. It was the speed with which fear, pride, and social status allowed one document to cancel the humanity of people who had already suffered enough. Evidence matters. Science matters. But procedure, informed consent, patience, and the discipline to investigate before condemning also matter. A person does not become worthy of treatment because a billionaire recognizes her. A poor woman does not lose the right to make decisions because somebody else pays the bill. A laboratory report deserves trust only when the process protecting the sample deserves trust. And an apology becomes meaningful only when changed conduct gives it legs. Wherever you are listening from, remember this. Dignity is not a favor the powerful give to the vulnerable. It belongs to every human being before money, status, illness, clothing, or blood relationship enters the room. Disclaimer. This story is entirely fictional and created with the assistance of AI for entertainment purposes only. It is intended to convey positive messages and life lessons. It does not refer to, represent, or target any real individual, organization, or establishment. Any resemblance to actual persons or events is purely coincidental.